What is up, hackers? Welcome back to another episode of Hack Crypto, where we hack all of our Web3 and crypto education. If you guys are brand new here, be sure to be subscribed. If you want to learn everything around new crypto projects, new Web3 protocols, and all that is Web3, including gaming. Now, in this episode, I'm going to be going over the most sought after list in all of crypto. Over the last 10 years I've been in the space, the Bitcoin rich list has always been changing. It's always dynamic, whether it's exchanges holding massive bags or individuals like Michael Saylor that are just buying huge slugs of Bitcoin every single month. So on this episode, I'm going to be talking about the overall Bitcoin distribution at the end of 2023. And then I'm going to be talking about the top Bitcoin holders and some tidbits here and there about what I've seen over the last few years and what I expect as these Bitcoin ETFs are approved in the first month of 2024. So the first person on the list, or the first entity on the list, is Satoshi Nakamoto with 1.1 million Bitcoin. Now, an important disclaimer here. Satoshi Nakamoto has been rumored to be all different types of individuals, groups, hacktivists, all different people out there. And what's really key is to know that in the last 15 years, 10 years, there have always been eyes on that 1.1 million Bitcoin. People were always saying, oh, he could just come out and dump it, or they could come out and dump it, or the group could come out and dump it. But it just hasn't moved. And Hal Finney, who many people have said was Satoshi Nakamoto, died a few years back of ALS. It was very tragic, but he is a legend, an amazing human. If you read about him, go check him out, give him a Google. Was just an incredible programmer, and a lot of the things that he did were very much in line with decentralization and digital cash, peer-to-peer cash, and everything. So there's a lot of dots that line up with Hal Finney and Satoshi Nakamoto, and I think that there's much to be said about that, but that's not what this video is about. I remember hearing a story about a guy excavating an entire backyard because he lost his Ledger wallet, and then he excavated a dump where he thought that his trash had been dumped out in that was worth tens of millions of dollars at the time. So there's a lot out there that is just gone, and that's the cost of early revolutions in technology. People don't really understand holding their keys, they lose things, they're just human, it's just how it works. And that is a key component here, is that all these massive addresses, many of them are anonymous. Some of them, probably a high percentage, higher than I think, are probably just gone forever and lost. So next on the list, we have to mention the Winklevoss, or the Winklevi twins. These guys have about 70,000 Bitcoin, and this list is going to be in different orders here because I want to dive onto the site to show you guys the actual distribution after I talk about these sort of headliners here. Winklevoss twins bought a bunch of Bitcoin. I remember after their Facebook settlement, and they bought up 70,000. They've been sitting on this for a long time. They have the awesome exchange, probably my favorite exchange next to Coinbase, Gemini. They've been around for a long time, played by the rules, started nice and slow, and have been crushing it with Gemini Exchange, doing, I think it's over 40 million in transaction volume a day. So they've done an incredible job supporting the space, pushing it forward with legal efforts and regulation and all that. So with 70,000. And then we have Crazy Uncle Tim Draper. I believe he has over 25,000 Bitcoin, and that was from a seizure, I believe, that happened from the US government, and he purchased a huge slug of those back in, I want to say that was like 2014, 2015, and he bought those at a discount back in the day. And he's always been very vocal about the price of Bitcoin going to 250K. And fun quick story, if you look back on this channel, you'll see that I was live streaming from his event. I think it was in 2017, and he blocked off like the whole city block in San Mateo in downtown in California, where I was living with my wife at the time. And he blocked off the whole city and put chains with blocks hanging down, rented out all of the restaurants all up and down the city block. You could go in and meet and get like basically comped food at these restaurants. They were giving out samples all down throughout this whole downtown in San Mateo. And there was a stage, and he had all these blocks on chains going throughout the street lamps. And we went and watched him stand on stage. There was a band that was playing. I think the mayor was there, and everybody was kind of like doing their dance up on stage. And he came up and gave his prediction of 250K in 2022, I believe was what it was. And at the time, I remember my wife and I were just so excited about it, and people were all asking me questions, and it was just kind of a hyperbolic time. And this was when I was like, okay, wow, 250K by 2022, that's incredible. Obviously, that did not happen. Now he's come out again and said 250K is going to happen in 2024. We'll see about that. A lot of people are speculating that the ETFs are good for price speculation. And then some people are saying it's bad because the miners are going to be getting, not as rewarded as they were, but we shall see. So the next one I want to talk about is Michael Saylor. This guy is just a total legend. And the way that it's structured now is he has a company called MicroStrategy. He can sell stock for his public company and in exchange buy Bitcoin with that. He's also using debt, and he's taking on massive amounts of debt, hundreds of millions of dollars in debt, and buying up Bitcoin in droves. I believe he has 180,000 Bitcoin at this point, which is huge. He's in the top wallets up there next to Binance and these other exchanges that have been around for a long time. Michael Saylor is a total badass. And seeing this flow, I think a lot of people have had this aha moment where they were like, wow, if I have a public company, I'm selling shares on the public market and buying Bitcoin, basically swapping my shares of my company for this Bitcoin that I'm holding on my balance sheet. What you've effectively done is changed the price value of your shares because you're adding to your company. You're selling, stock, and you're adding to your company's strength through the asset. And I think it's a brilliant model, and it's really allowed for MicroStrategy to track along with Bitcoin because people realize like, whoa, this is going to be a very, very important company over the next 20 years here. So shout out to Michael Saylor. Literally bought more today, I believe. I think he bought like 20,000 more Bitcoin, and he's just totally belief of the system, the decentralization, and just awesome mind and very brilliant. You should check him out on YouTube as well. So I'm going to dive onto the site that is the BitInfo charts. If you haven't gone to BitInfo charts, definitely check it out. There's some incredible distribution charts, a lot of great graphs, numbers, everything. And I'm going to dive onto here and show you guys exactly what the Bitcoin distribution is from the lowest point all the way to the top 4 wallets and what they hold in those wallets. So you get a sense for the decentralization overall here. All right, here we are at the end of 2023, and this is the accurate Bitcoin distribution at the end of the year here. So what we have is about almost 4 million addresses, and that is 7.5%, and that is a cumulative 20 Bitcoin. That is spread out across all these different people, and that is a balance of basically dust here. And it's important to know that a lot of these people have, just sitting on wallets that they've used over the years for exchanges, things like that. So 4 million people roughly accounting for 20 coins. Next up, we have, it looks like 10 million addresses at a little bit more than that. So 1 decimal above that, 0.001 Satoshis here. And that is accounting for 19% and 433 Bitcoin, about $18 million worth. And then we have the next point up, and that's just another Satoshi point further. And we have our 13 million, that's 25% of addresses. And that is 5,233 Bitcoin. And then we have, looks like 0.01 Satoshi there. And that is 12 million, over 12 million at 23%. So the total of 47%. And that's 44,000 Bitcoin, almost 45,000 Bitcoin, and $1 billion worth, almost 2 billion worth is at this level. Then we have the 10th of a coin here. And that is upwards of 8 million, 8.1 million. And that is 274,000 Bitcoin are in this price point here. That's 15%, which is pretty remarkable that a tenth of the Bitcoin is owned by 8 million individuals. That's really cool. And then we get to the one. And remember, there's 21 million total. So we have 3 million people that are between a tenth of a coin and 1 full coin, and that is at 6.78%, and that's 1 million Bitcoin are in this price point here. So that is pretty interesting to see that, this used to be the most sought after, and then this one obviously is the tipping point where you have everybody fighting between these two. Like everybody wants to have one Bitcoin being the end all be all that everybody's always trying to get to. And this is the tipping point. So we have 868,000 people that have 1 to 10 Bitcoin. So that is 1.65. So congratulations. If you guys have 1 full Bitcoin, you are in the top 1.65% of holders, which is a huge statement. This has changed slightly over the last year, but 2.1 million Bitcoin are in this bracket. This is probably the most sought after. This tipping point here. Everybody's trying to fight to get this, and that this is the average Joe's. This is the real decentralization key part here that I really love following, is this one tipping point. Then next up, we have 10 to 100. This is 139,000 people. And this is the top 0.27%. And that's 4.4 million Bitcoin are there. And then we have 100 to 1,000 Bitcoin. There's 13,000 wallets there. And that is 0.03%. And that is 3.9 million. So the largest tranche here is the 1,000 Bitcoin to 10,000 Bitcoin. This is 1,900 people or wallets or entities. And this is 4.6 million Bitcoins sit in this tranche here. That's crazy, crazy to think about. And then we have 10,000 to 100,000. This is 105 wallets at 2.2 million Bitcoin there. And then the top one, the big dogs, 100,000 to a million. And Satoshi's one of these here. So I know Michael Saylor is one of these. I know Binance is one of these. I'm guessing the other one is Bitfinex. We'll just have to check on that later, but ultimately this is the mega holders, and 692,000. I believe this changed as of today because MicroStrategy purchased more to add to that in 29 billion. So the biggest tranche is the 1,000 to 10,000 Bitcoin, and this is where the most are locked up and being held. $200 billion locked into this tranche by 1,933 addresses. And here we go. The address is richer than, and this is in the dollar amount. You can see that there's 451,000 that are richer than 100,000. And then there's 89,000 richer than $1 million. And then 7,423 that are richer than $10 million in terms of their Bitcoin holdings in US dollar value. So really great distribution. It's fun to watch this change. These are really dynamic. You'll see this over the next year. This is going to change quite dramatically because you're seeing anywhere between 50 to 100,000 new wallet addresses spinning up on a daily basis. And this is just a powerful, powerful number here, seeing these changing on a regular basis. That is it for my 2023 recap of the Bitcoin distribution. Decentralization is incredible. It's very powerful. A lot of people are making trade-offs with speed and everything, with Solana effectively being centralized. A lot of people want just it to work, and they've moved a lot away from the decentralization core principle of blockchain and cryptocurrency. But it is very important to know that Bitcoin is extremely decentralized through all of its mining mechanisms with proof of work. And it's so fun to watch this happen. I mean, if you would have told me in 2017, the end of 2023, Bitcoin would be at $43,000, I would have just said, all right, well, I'm selling everything I own and buying Bitcoin. But ultimately, an important part to take away here is everybody that I know that has been in the space either longer than me or as long as me, people live their lives. Like, it's very important to live your life, and the average person isn't going to be able to just sit and hold an investment for a very long period of time unless they're making exponentially more money than they're spending every year. And that's just not the case with average people that are trying to live a life and have a good life. And I know a lot of people that have done radical things like sell everything they own and bought Bitcoin, but ultimately this is an investment, guys. Like, this is an asset class that you can invest in, but you have to live your life as well. People treat this like a religion, and it's important to know that there's a life outside of this. And it can kind of feel that when people are financially incentivized to shill 24/7 and push it out on social media, it can kind of feel like the walls close in. So for everybody out there that feels like they're watching the charts on a daily basis, they're losing money, they're making money, whatever, just know, go outside, touch some grass, go into the real world, because people are financially motivated on social media to push you to never sell and just hold and buy more and empty everything you have into these markets. That's the incentive of a lot of the social media pressures, because people will just log on for 5 minutes and say, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen, boom, post. And that isn't real life. So it's important to know that there's a life outside of this. Calm down. There's been people over the years that have taken this way too seriously. It's cost lives. It's cost a lot of things. So just have fun, enjoy the ride, and stay safe. Be careful out there, and happy new year to everybody, all the crypto hackers that are watching the channel and supported the channel over the years. Thank you so much. We're gonna have an amazing 2024 and an amazing next 10, 20 years here. So that is it for this video. Slap a like if you wanna see more of these distribution style videos, because there's plenty of tokens out there, plenty of coins out there, protocols out there that I'd love to do more about this on. So that is it for this episode. I will see you here on the next episode in 2024 on Hack Crypto.